It's just, I know, the session just before your lunch, and I'll try my best to make it as engaging as possible. So I was asked to speak for 20 minutes, but this might go beyond 20 minutes. I don't know how much interesting I can make it beyond 20 minutes, but let's see how things goes in. So today, what I'm going to talk about is it's an interesting topic, but how interesting is, I would say, you guys have to decide how interesting it's for you. Specifically, I'm going to go deeper into one aspect, which is disability. How many of you have seen people who are disabled around? Have you seen? Have you interacted with them? Yes or no? Let's make it interactive, no? Have you interacted? Yes. Okay, great. So let's see what we have been doing, specifically in my role with the government side of it, and also in my role with TATA. So I'm just trying to ensure whatever knowledge that we have gained, whatever we have been doing, and also one more thing is to inspire all of you to also join us in this revolution of making change. So the topic here is how can we foster sustainability and global citizenship through education for a better tomorrow. So when you look at this topic, first of all, we have to look at some of the numbers across the globe. So that's what is put up here. I'm not going to discuss too much on this, but at least for you to understand, according to the UNICEF 2023, you can see that almost 240 million children with disabilities are lacking educational access. Is it a small number? Yes or no? Today you've got a brilliant opportunity here to hear to us, to be a part of Jain University, and not only that, to be a part of such a renowned ecosystem and learn things. But as you see there is a huge gap in the society. And that gap is something that we are going to see, we are going to discuss today. And because of that exclusion or this barrier or this gap, you see there is a huge $1 trillion lost in the global economy. That's 1.7 trillion. And you can see the rest of the numbers. I'm not going very detailed into these numbers. But finally, I just wanted to bring in something else. How can this gap be at least addressed in some extent? One part of it is technology. The other part of it is we, each one of us. And how we can do it is what is the session is all about. So I'm going to discuss about what we have been doing. So this is the three major areas we have been trying to do from the TATA ecosystem, that is the TCS, specifically our lab. So I started my career with TCS in one of the labs called ILP Innovation Lab, Initial Learning Program. So when I was working with, I would say, McFadden, there was another company, because it's my second innings in TCS. So in my first innings, I was directly doing a faculty role for ILP in Trivandrum. So in second innings, when I came back from Los Angeles, I was asked to start a new lab for TATA, which is called the Initial Learning Program Lab. So this lab is a very interesting lab. It's like all of you, the young minds of India who joins this lab. So, and they solve the problems of tomorrow there. Like they solve the problems of AI, they solve the problems of robotics, they solve the problems of whatever that comes in for customers all across. Now that's where one day we visited one of the schools nearby in Techno Park. So the school is known as the CH Mustafa Koya Mentally Retarded School. Have anyone heard about this school? CH Mustafa Koya Mentally Retarded School? Have you heard? One of you. Great. Do you know what is the speciality of the school? It's a mentally retarded school, but it is the first school supported by the government of Kerala for children with disabilities. Okay. Now we went to the school. It's a very near school, I would say just like a few kilometers from our place, which is like 4 kilometers in Pangapara. So we went there to do a CSR activity as a part of Tata Group. We went there, we met them. I would say it was a brightening day for us seeing them, because most of them in that school, it's not like any other school that you might have seen in your life. It's not like any neurotypical school that you might have seen in your life. Because this school is like a daycare center, I would call, or care center kind of a school, where children come there, they play, they learn few things and just they go. So we also played with them. We brought them some goodies for them. We spent a day with them and we went back. We never thought that, okay, what food could we do for them? So that was some kind of a discussion that went on later and later years in our labs, but we never did anything, I would say. That is when we had, from TCS, we have one person who is one of my godfathers, I call him, is Dinesh Thampi. Dinesh Thampi is the head of TCS operations for Kerala region. Some of you might know him. So he asked us to visit another school in Kochi, very interesting school, I would say. It's called Adarsh Charitable School in Tripunithara. It's very near to you guys here. If you get time, just visit. It's a very beautiful school. 500 children with special capabilities or differently abled category, divinely able category learned there. So on the day when I went there, I met almost like, I would say, 50 children there and their parents. So that particular visit actually changed our life towards what we could do for them. And this is where we work in from the perspective of this neurodivergent society or the specially able society. One is to bring in quality education. Second is to have a decent work and economic growth for them. And finally, reduce the inequality in the world for them. Okay, so that's where we are coming from, and this is where our entire system of discussion goes through. Now, in the next 7 days here, or you might be already you might have already seen all this. You have been discussing about AI. You have been discussing about immersive technologies. You have been seeing several things around you from a technological perspective. Does technology solve everything? Will it solve? Yes or no? Come on, guys. You know. Will it solve? No. So what are we trying to do? What is technology actually? What is it trying to do? It's a enabler. Okay, so that's what I just wanted to show you. There is AI, there is immersive technology, there is something all this digital infrastructure, 5G, cloud computing, blockchains, several things today in the world, several buzzwords that you have heard. But does that mean that that will solve every problem? So first thing you need to understand is what is the problem. It's not the tech. Look, what happens today all around us is we take the tech, we try to see, okay, where it can be plugged in to solve the problem. So that is where we need to first understand where is the problem, what is the problem, whether it needs even a tech to solve it. And that's what you're going to see here. It needs tech, yes, use it. But more than tech, there are certain things that is needed to solve certain kind of problems. We'll see that. Now, to start this, because since it's January, I just wanted to, I'm very peculiar about this person. I'm a fan of him, I would say. Do you know who is he? Who is he? January, he's celebrated for this month. Who is he? I can understand. I know that you have not seen him because he's no more. But who is he? He is Louis Braille. Have you heard about him? Louis Braille. Guys, he's one of the pioneers of the first person to bring some kind of a technology to the world, okay? He also brought a technology. I'm going to discuss about it. And why I brought this person here is because this month, Jan 4th, is known as the World Braille Day. And this month is celebrated for World Braille Day and the Braille technology, what he brought in. Now, to start with what he is, and just for your understanding, I know many of you might have heard his name but don't know what he has done. He was born in the year 1809, okay? And almost in the age of 5, 6, he lost his eyesight because he was working with his father in a lathe, okay, in France. So there was an accident that occurred. He lost the eyesight of both his eyes. He's completely blind. Then he understood what is the difficulty of a person who is completely blind. Have you ever tried to understand the person with completely blind? Have you ever met a person who is completely blind? Anytime? Some of you? Yes or no? Okay. I just want you to do one thing before I go ahead. Just close your eyes, all of you. Just try closing your eyes. Okay. Just try to touch your friend's hands. Only hands, okay? Just try to touch your friend's hands. Just try to feel the hands. Your friend's hands. Okay? Thank you. Just open your eyes. Done. The exercise is done. What did you feel? What were you trying to feel? when you touch the hands, did you try to understand how his texture of the hands look like? You started understanding certain things, no? Something has gone into your brain. You started thinking something. So that's how a blind person tries to understand the environment. He is completely blind. Just think of a person who is completely blind 24/7. He goes for his basic activities, the toilets, looking around for people, looking around for the items, whatever he is looking for. It's a very drastic, I would say, very difficult task on a daily basis. And there was a time we also tried to behave like blinds. We were completely blindfolded to understand how a blind person looks the world through his hands, through his ears, and all other kind of senses. Now I'll come to that because I just wanted to introduce this guy, a brilliant guy who actually brought the concept of Braille. Now, how did he invent Braille? Does anyone know how he invented Braille? He actually got the idea of Braille from his uncle who was in the army, who was involved in multiple, I would say, those times it was all civil wars, the French related civil wars and stuff. So there is one of his uncles who was fighting there. So he told him in the age of 13 that during these wars, they communicated each other using a 12-digit tactile dot system. Because before that, they were communicating using light, torch lights. So when using torch lights, what would happen usually? The enemy is able to understand that this person is communicating, and based on that, they will come and attack you. But later, they started communicating using tactile dots, which is a 12-digit dot. Now, Louis Braille went and tried to use these 12-digit dot. He found that it is very complex for a blind person. That is where, in his I would say by 1820s, he invented the concept of Braille, just converting this 12-dot system into a 6-dot system or a 6-dot tactile machine, which is widely used today across the globe. Anywhere you go, for any blind or partially blind person, this is one of the communication mechanisms that they use for reading things, the tactile reading. So this is how it looks like. It has 6 dots and how the dots are arranged based on which you will be learning. And he is the inventor behind that. And during his phase, I would say he died in like 1840s, 50s or something. But it never got famous till that time. Only after his death, the French government took it and started popularizing it. And now it's one of the most popular methodologies with which blind people communicate. Now, why I wanted to bring this story is you have to understand how a person got the idea, from where the inspiration came through, and how this was actually done. Now, why I started looking into Louis Braille, there is a story behind that which I'll go through. But just I wanted to also show you some of the statistics so you understand why this kind of a device is important or this kind of a technology is important. It is almost estimated that 2 lakh children in India are blind or severely visually impaired. It is not, I'm talking about blind in the sense that by birth they are blind. I'm not talking about someone who got blind due to some issues or due to some accidents. But out of this, only 15,000 of these children are able to attend schools for blind. So look at the disparity there. And we talk about all this kind of change journey, and we talk about all kinds of degrees and the universities that we have. But here itself, you will see a huge difference. And more than 1.1 million children in India between the age of 5 and 19 are visually impaired, and 68% of them are only able to attend a school. And the biggest issue that we face here is the Braille literacy is not even just 1%, because it's very difficult to learn Braille. And without learning Braille, they cannot read any of their books, because all their books are in Braille today. Even though there are audio books, it is not serving the actual purpose. Now you might be thinking, why this guy is talking about all this nonsense or whatever that you have been hearing. So there is a story behind it, because I went to the school 2 years back, and it's a very beautiful school near to you in Alva. It's just 30 minutes, 40 minutes from here. Just try to go there when you get time. Okay, whenever. I'm not saying that you have to go today or something, but go there. It's called the Kerala Blind School Society, Alva. It's like any other school that you have learned. Now go back to your memories of your school days. You will understand. Okay, the classrooms, the place, your friends, same environment. No change, because it is never constructed as a blind school. So when I went there first day, when I was walking through that area you see in the front, so I was just walking, there were 2-3 children learning, or I would say they were just playing around. They just came running. They never knew I was there. He just come and hit my, I would say, leg, and he fell down. And suddenly he stood up and he started, that's the exercise I wanted you to do. He just started feeling my hands and he asked me, "Who are you?" I said, "Robin." You know, the next time I went there, the same guy, he came to see me through the door inside the school. He started feeling my hands, and when he heard my sound, he said, "I am Robin." And that is what blind people are. They're brilliant guys. They're all like us, but only problem that they face today, they're not accepted. They're not accepted as they are. So that is where we started this journey. Went to the school, understanding what's happening there. So I met this beautiful couple, okay? So Sunil Francis and Gigi Verghese. Sunil Francis lost his eyesight in the age of 15. So that is when he understood the problem of being blind. And the schools, wherever he was studying, was not accepting him as a blind child. They always wanted him to be a sighted child. So he was facing a lot of discrimination in all these normal schools. So he then decided to start a school. His wife, who is a strong supporter of, I would say, Sunil, she is the headmistress of the school, a beautiful lady. And she is, I would say, the woman icon of that school who is making sure things are happening around that school. So that's how I visited them. This is their classroom. I just took this to make you understand. I just want you to say me something after this, after you see this classroom. Isn't the classroom beautiful? Is it anything different from the school that you studied from? A bit small. You might have studied in the CBSEs and the very premium schools. I won't say it is like a normal government school. Just look at it like that. But did you see any difference is my question. Any difference? Anything? There is no board in it. Great. Anything else? There were desks actually. They actually moved it for a different experiment. I was there. But is it any much different from any normal school? No. But when you start feeling, because there is something in that wall that you see. There is a colored. You see that? There is a colored drawings and paintings on this wall. You see that? Does it make any sense for them to have this colored things or whatever that is there on the wall? Why is it there? Is there a reason behind it? Come on, guys, tell me. It's a psychology. They never wanted to differentiate them with the so-called neurotypicals like us. And that is the reason that you see here. But when you go near to these colored, whatever the drawings there, when you start feeling it, you will see that there is a texture difference in this. It's not like the normal colored things that you see. It's a texture difference for them to understand what is the color there. For blue, they have a different color. For green, they have a different color. That actually made me think how much innovative they are in structuring their course. How much deep they're trying to understand to make that classroom look like any other person. Look, for a person like me who goes first in the classroom, cannot make any difference. But each and everything has a texture in it. There is a difference that they have created. So this is how they learn. Okay, we do a lot of observational study, a design study before we start implementing anything for them. But let's see how they are learning. Okay, it's in Malayalam. Sorry for that for who doesn't understand Malayalam. But at least it's a universal language in which the blind learn. So if you hear what they are saying is, they are trying to learn leaves. How beautifully they are learning leaves, you will see. So they are touching it. Someone is actually telling them about leaf, elagal. And what is that? Aad elagal tinnunnu. They are giving a phrase to it. They are telling stories to them. They feel that story and they be part of that story. That's how they learn it. Okay, it's not like in our classrooms the teacher says study this, study that, and just reads out that. Here it takes time for them to learn. And that's how their syllabus is all about. So we have been seeing how they are doing. So most of their learning happens through the fingers, the tips of their fingers. And the tips of their fingers are having the highest receptions. I would say they can find out anything through the tips of those fingers because they have very tiny touch points. Like the braille is so tiny, they can say out, okay, what is that? So these are some more learnings that we understood. I'm not playing much about it because of the time constraints. This is what we understood finally after doing all the study. So their eyes are their hands. So they learn everything through the hands. So there was a neuroscience study we started soon after this to understand how their brain works, or what is that actually happens to their brain while they are learning, because education is all about neuroscience. And how, you might have seen that by now, whatever you are trying to learn, when it comes to the multiple senses only, it actually resides in your brain. So if you look at the brain has 4 lobes. Most of you know that. Okay. So what is the back portion of the brain? The occipital lobe. And it corresponds to which sense? Which sense? Vision. Great. So whatever you see actually gets into this occipital lobe. And from the occipital lobe, the information goes to your frontal lobe, the front part of your brain, especially the prefrontal lobe, that is just front portion of your brain, to make a decision. So you make a decision seeing something, saying that, okay, fine, this guy is Robin. He's moving left and right, saying something. There comes what is he saying. So you are starting to hear him through your ears. That is actually captured through your temporal lobes, 2 sides of your brain. And you also have something called in the center of the part of your brain, which is called the parietal lobe, which processes the speech, which processes on what you write. And there is one more, which usually we don't talk about, the cerebellum and all, which actually coordinates your movement, like the motor neuron cortex when I am walking. So we learn through all these senses, through eyes, through our nose, through smell, through the mouth, through hearing, through touch, and also through walking. Walking is also a methodology with which you learn. There are certain activities you need to learn through walking, or the motor neuron cortex. Now why I am bringing this is, now think of a person who loses one of the sense. So the blind has already lost one of the major sense, which is eyes. Now how do they compensate for the eyes? The other senses are activated more. Great. Now that is where you need to understand your brain. Your brain is marvelous, guys. It is a plastic stuff. You can mold anything using, you get a plastic thing, you can mold it by heating it. So that is what is actually happening to your brain. So your brain, whichever your occipital lobe, as I was talking about, which already constitutes to 80% of your brain is your occipital lobe, which means sight. So this 80% of the brain is trying to learn from all other senses. And that is why you see their hands become more and more and more sensitive to whatever they are trying to learn. And that is what is the story of a blind person. And that's how he learns. Okay, so we were trying to understand, okay, how we can make them learn Braille, what is the possibilities of making them learn Braille, and we went to multiple places all around. Even I had a discussion with the Royal National Institute of Blind in UK, because the innovators of that, they were the innovators behind the Alexa voice. Most of you might be hearing to the Alexa voice. Actually, that was invented by the Royal National Institute of Blind. And all those kind of discussions happened, and that's where we invented this device, which is called Braille Lume. Now, what is Braille Lume? It is a small Braille talking device where it is enabled by Gen AI, the latest artificial intelligence algorithm. So there is a beautiful algorithm that lies in this device. It can talk to you. So when you just create a particular, I would say, an alphabet, A. So A means the first one is enabled and all others are sitting down. So A is enabled, it will start talking about A for Apple, and what is Apple all about. And based on your age, it is hyper-personalized for the age. So that even for, I would say, gender, everything, it is hyper-personalized for them to understand, okay, what is it, what it needs to talk about. So that is a kind of application we developed. Now it is distributed in multiple, I would say, blind schools, and and we are also giving it to neurotypical children like all of us, to ensure that they also understand what is Braille. Because it's very interesting to learn Braille. Once it is made interesting, education is much more easier. So that's what we were trying to do, especially for children who are in the class 1, 2, 3. They are provided with this device for them to make their lives much more easier to learn Braille, because that was a major difficulty for these schools to teach them. So what is it? The solution is all about, I would say, image recognition, blah, blah, blah. That's what I was saying. I'm not much a fan of technology, just talking about technology, but it has technology in it. More than the technology, what I wanted to bring in here is the neuroscience behind it. That's the beautiful part of it when we start doing a lot of research, especially the way in which it has gone into the person, because it has audio, so he hears whatever that is. You might have seen earlier, okay, let me put it in this way. You saw in the previous video how they are learning. They touch it and they hear it. Same thing happens here. So when they construct a letter, they also hear what is that. So that is the same thing that we have given to a device. And it is actually based on the Gemma model, the beautiful model by Gemini, which is from the Google family. It's a commercial use model, and we use it for the 2 billion model for it. And this resides in that small device, whatever you saw. Now, this is the neuroscience, and this is the most important part, I would say, more than the technology solving the problem, especially looking at their brain lobes, which all parts of their brain was enabled. What is the neurotransmitters and learning? And we take care of the active learning phase of it. So active learning means how they learn it, how small they learn it, and how is their learning pattern, how they are actually trying to speak it. So we are capturing when he is speaking about it, because we ask him questions like, you learned about ant, now tell me what is it. Okay, so when he starts speaking about it, the system understands how much deeper he is. So that's where we are talking about the hyper-personalization and also about the neuroplasticity. So that's what is about Brailleum, and you can see how it is being used. So that is their teacher, okay, Thomas sir. He's actually teaching them how to use this device. You can also hear, this is again in Malayalam, sorry for that.
Okay, device വളരെ ഹെൽപ്ഫുൾ ആണ്. അതായത് ഫൺ ആക്ടിവിറ്റികളൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നൊരു ഡിവൈസാണത്. കുട്ടികൾ പെട്ടെന്നൊരു എൻ്റർടൈൻ ചെയ്യിക്കാന്നുള്ളൊരു സ്വയം പഠിക്കാൻ സഹായിക്കുന്ന ഡിവൈസാണ്.
So that's what I wanted to share with you. There is a world outside, okay, who needs us, who need our innovations, our technology. More than that, they just wanted us to come and understand what the issues that they are facing. And this is where a starting point I wanted to make, because this is January, a month known for Braille, and there's a lot of events happening around Braille. Just thought of giving you that information to you. And let me go to the next topic, which I'll try to complete everything in next 10-15 minutes. Is it interesting? It's okay? Can I take 15 minutes more? Okay? Yes or no? I'm sorry that it's a lunch time. Just give me 15 minutes, I'll close it. Okay. This is a very interesting picture. Can you say me what is the most interesting thing in this picture? This was actually published 3 weeks back, if you have seen Suprabhadam newspaper. It was there in few newspapers, but I got this clip from, I think, Suprabhadam, I don't know. I remember it. It came as a sharing before me. I just thought I'll take this and show you guys what is it. What is it? The smile. Of what? You know what is that guy? Have you met this guy? He's like one of us, but he's a cerebral palsy child. You know what is cerebral palsy? Have you heard? No one? This shows the gap. This is what I'm talking about. Cerebral palsy is a condition by birth where a person is not able to move his hands or legs, or is completely on bed. And this is identified in the age of 1.5 to 2 years. Till that time, the parent will never know that he was having cerebral palsy. He will not grow as a normal child. He's having stiffness in his muscles. He's having problems with his speech. He or she faces a huge challenge in his entire life. And that is the story I wanted to share with you. Now, I understood cerebral palsy 10 years back, like all of you. Okay, I believe I could tell you at least much earlier to you here, whoever is there. But I just understood about cerebral palsy in my age of 30s. Okay, it means I'm 40s now. So what I'm trying to say here is, When I went to the school, the school nearby, a beautiful school, which I believe Simi and everyone visits usually. But it's a very inspirational school, Adarsh Charitable Trust. I went there, I met a lot of cerebral palsy children. But it's not about meeting that child and understanding what the problem of the child. The most beautiful thing which I understood there is the mother. And do you see someone there behind? Can you see that? A mother who is laughing? She might have never laughed in her life. It's because she is laughing is because there's a 25-meter race where her son is scoring the first place in the Special Olympics that happened in Kerala 2 weeks back. You know, it's very difficult for that particular mother to laugh. And that's what I have seen in my life, my team has seen in my life. Almost last 10 years we saw this. Whenever a cerebral palsy child or a neurodivergent or an autism or a multiple disability or a whatever disability that happens into a family, you know what happens first? The so-called husband like us, like me I would say that this is not my child. I don't know how he is born in this room. And they will just ignore and they'll go out of the house or they'll divorce. 70% in India is the state. And the entire responsibility comes to the so-called mother who is staying that back. She takes care of him. She runs with him. She feeds him. They are so tied together. When they die, they ask this question, and I have heard this from thousands of mothers. Ende kutti inikku aara ullathu? That one question is something today we work a lot for making them happy. It's not for making that child happy. For that mother who has actually dedicated her entire life for that child. You should go to these schools because when I visited the school, I saw that 90% of the cerebral palsy children and autism children's mothers come and stay there. You know, I was visiting this school in the month of kind of like May. And their classes start almost like, I think, last 2 weeks of May. I was just standing there. I saw this 90% of mothers standing outside. You know, it's too hot during that period of time. You know, they will stay just outside that school from morning 10 o'clock to evening 4 o'clock, just thinking, okay, my son will come now, or my son will come, he'll start crying, because when they start crying, it's not easy to deal these children. Okay, so they'll have to go inside. So they wait there to see this child. Okay, so that's, I would say, the wonderful love that they have for the child. And not only that, this is where we started our journey. We wanted to make sure that there is something that we can do for them. And this is the image, it came from Suprabhadam. So this is the competition that held. Now you have to understand what is this, and you can see how a mother is actually making her child walk. So this is Nirmal Krishna. Some of you know, I've been speaking about him from a long period of time now. So, but this guy, every day morning, they have a routine to do. They just start walking. Their mothers, this is the mother of Nirmal Krishna, who makes him walk every day because he is completely on a wheelchair. He's a cerebral palsy child with athetoids. So I met him when I went to the school. So I was just trying to understand what is the daily habits of these people, how they do the day-to-day activities in their school. To my surprise, it's a very difficult process. Okay, if he is walking like that, it means that the mother has spent a lifetime with him to make him walk with crutches because he is completely on a wheelchair. He was born on a bed, completely he spent his life on his bed. He was moved from the bed to the wheelchair, from the wheelchair onto crutches today, and later you will see how these kind of people walk today because of our intervention, but it's not because of our intervention, the will of the mother to make him walk. It's a huge story, guys. It's a huge story because it doesn't happen on a day or like we can do. Each one of us can do. Okay, so that's where the story comes from, and that's why I wanted to share this story on every stage I talk. So we just wanted to see one of the persons. His name is Sharon. I have all the rights to use. That's the reason why I'm just using these names as well as the videos. Sharon is a brilliant person. He cannot speak. He's again a cerebral palsy person with athetoids. Do you know what is athetoid? Shivering. So when he starts concentrating, for example, if you ask him to get a glass of water and drink, he can never drink it because he will start shivering because it's a fine motor issue. He will never drink a glass of water. He cannot have his own food using his hands. So always his mothers feed him or the special educators feed him. So this is the scene I'm seeing when I went there. So he has been doing this for 2 years in that school. So that's when the special educator trained me. So these children, when they come to the special schools, if you go to the special school, you will understand, you will not see a classroom like standard 1, standard 2, standard 1A, 2A, B, C, D. Because when I went last week to my own school where I studied in Anakal, which is a remote place near to us. So their 11th standard goes from A to Z. Okay. And there are some schools even A to Z and it starts with AA because of the number of children there. Here it is never like that. They have something called Down syndrome room. They'll have a physical therapy room. They have interesting names like occupational therapy because it is all related to make them do their milestones and goals. So the milestone for Sharon was to make him climb the stairs up and down. Do you know why? Is it a simple milestone? For us, it's simple, no? Because we started doing this from our age 2 or 3. But for Sharon, he has been doing this from his lifetime. He is not able to do because his mother actually has to carry him from the top floor where she is living towards ground, or he has to carry him upwards on the stairs. And the mother said, this is what we need him to do. Okay, make him climb the stairs, climb down the stairs. So this is the milestone given, and the educators are trying to make him do that so that he will be more independent. The only thing that happens in these kind of schools is making these children more and more independent. Okay, so that's what you saw here. So that is when we were doing all this research, we found a lot of cerebral palsy children. They were going through a continuous physical therapy process. But there is a bad thing to these schools that's not a bad thing, I would say, but at least most of the children hate the school, especially special children. You know why? We all love to go to school in the morning because we have a lot of friends. We make friends, we talk to them, we enjoy them, we play with them. But these children are not like that. They don't want to go to school. Why? Why? For them, as you have seen, school is pain. When he reaches there, the teacher will ask him to climb the stairs up and down. He's completely demotivated. He doesn't have a confidence even to climb that stair. For him to climb the stair, he knows that his teacher has to be with him. She has to carry him. He is dependent on someone. Think of someone depending. I would say a week before I was meeting one father. He's 70 years old. He has a cerebral palsy child, 40 years old. And what he is, you know what actually he told me? Even toilet 40 years old son, when he goes to the toilet, he has to have his father in that toilet to make him do activities. And that's the biggest problem they face. They are not independent in their life. And that is the biggest problem he also faces, Sharon, or people like anyone like Sharon is facing in their environment. So let's see what we did. We brought in a gamified AI application for them. It's not about the technology, but what we did is we are trying to understand what Sharon or people like Sharon needs. And we created something so that they get interested in doing it. So what was Sharon doing? Any comments? What was he trying to do? Lunchtime and this guy is going on asking questions. Sorry for that. But what was he trying to do? Did you observe what he was trying to do? He was trying to dance, okay. Anything else? What was Sharon's goal? To climb a stair. Climb down the stair. So what should he do for that? What is the activity? He has to get his legs up, start moving. That's what he's trying to do. But it is not like every day making him take the stair up and down. We made a game. That game is an avatar, which is mapping his entire body using posture recognition algorithm. I'll just show you the algorithm later. So what we are trying to do is then find out what is in his body, adaptive that particular algorithm in such a way that motivate him to move his legs and stamp on something on the floor. That is what he's doing. And you'll see that he's interested in doing that. It's not like someone is pushing him to do it. And that is a motivation and confidence we were trying to grow with that particular game. And it's not only that, because one more thing which we need to do, as I was earlier mentioning, it's very difficult to make them do things because they feel like we are trying to push them. They feel like they don't want to live in this world because of multiple issues that they're going through, the lot of rejections and the barriers in the ecosystem. Now tell me, do you all brush your teeth? Yes or no? Oh my God. Yes or no? Yes, that's what I want. No, I have a 2-year-old one, okay? So if I ask him to brush the teeth, except that he will do everything. Now, we all did this when we were like 2 years and 3 years. Always our mother or our father was always behind us to make us brush the teeth. But today morning, if you wake up, does your mother say to brush your teeth? How do you do it? It has become a habit. You don't even remember that you brushed your teeth even. There are times like that, no? You might go and brush it once again because you never remembered that you brushed it or not. Because that becomes a habit, that becomes a process in your life. And there's a huge story behind brushing the teeth because in 1800s, I would say, 1800s when the recruitment towards the American army was happening, the biggest national problem reported by the defense of America was the dental hygiene because of the smell that was happening. The smell that was happening, okay? Now, that is where it started. Pepsodent came into existence and all this, what you see, the brushing of teeth. But the basic stuff is the basal ganglia, which is inside your brain, which actually learns the habits like teeth, brushing your teeth, bathing, and whatever, eating the breakfast, lunch. Again, breakfast, lunch, and all the body urges you to do that, except for the teeth brushing, which you have done it. Now, we wanted to make sure these kind of habits are formed in these children. That's how the virtual habilitation project or the VHAB that you have seen has come in. And we wanted to ensure certain chemicals are released in right quantity, especially the dopamine, serotonin. Have you heard about serotonin? What is it for? Happy. Dopamine is happy. Serotonin is something that you get when you get addicted and all these MDMAs and stuff. Okay. But don't go for it. You can use VHAB. You will get serotonin. The serotonin is more of giving you that right pleasure to manage your stability of your thought process. And endorphin. What is endorphin for? It's a kind of happy hormone where you will get it after doing some kind of a gym activity or something, lifting something and moving. So you feel like you are getting that right quantity of those hormones. So especially the desire to do something is what is dopamine. And one more thing we had to do is that whether their brain is responding in the right way that our research is going through. So we were using a lot of brain-computer interface kind of algorithms to understand that. So you can see here we are trying to measure his brain activities of an autistic child because these children don't respond through emotions like us. They won't say everything through their face. They don't even do a speech response. So we were not able to get that kind of outcome. So as you see here, we were able to understand what is engagement, excitement, stress, relaxation, interest, focus, everything using BCI, all the thing, the off-the-shelf, commercial off-the-shelf tools, and we developed some algorithms to do this. And from here, almost after 2 years, Sharon went through this process of our VHAB virtual habilitation project. You can search in the Google to understand this. Let me show you where is he today. Isn't it interesting? So today he comes to the school, goes back from the school by walking himself. Does it make any sense? What is that? What is the sense that it makes? What is it? Anything is possible with technology, but I am not here to say about that. But what is the social sense it makes here? If he walks, what happens? He is more independent. Anything else? He can do things on his own. Great. But actually I was not doing it, or we were not doing it for him. For whom? For his mother. His mother was actually waiting outside all these 2-3 years, seeing her son doing this activity every day. When she started seeing that small things, she brought us cakes. She brought us unniyappam. I don't know how many of you know unniyappam. Small unniyappam. She was so happy. She shared when this guy started catching and started slowly putting up his legs, we got unniyappams. We got small cakes. She prepared it and she brought it, seeing all this happiness. And that's what we wanted. Today she goes for a work. She never accompanies him. And that is the social change, I would say. These can bring in, or technology can bring in, or even the right study can bring in. So that is what I would urge all of you to do. Okay. It is not the technology alone. Go there, spend time with them, because that is what a university can do. Each one of you sitting here can do. go try to understand the requirement, try to understand the problem that they face. It's not about just solving everything. It is just understanding that it's not even a technology might required for most of the things. But when you understand it, you will see, okay, there's a lot of change that we can make. So that we could almost reach more than 5,000 such children. And we have applied multiple, since it's a session, I wanted to just talk about Gestalt psychology as well as the Fox behavioral model that we have been working on, specifically when these kind of children are being approached in. And this is the algorithm that we use. 33 different body points were mapped for doing this activity, post-detector, post-tracking algorithms. All this, isn't it interesting? Actually, I would say, for me, anything today, when I see a small change in a child who is having a disability, makes me so happy rather than anything else. Because that's something which we feel that we could do, rather than, if you ask me if I have solved bigger business problems, yes, we have solved million problems. We have made millions of money in TCS. But when we see this, we are more happy than whatever we have did. And that is the reason why today I am working with the government, because we have a lot of people who are involved in these activities. And I just wanted to show you one more thing, which currently what we are doing, along with the government side of it. Do you know what is this? Have you seen this kind of a device? This is something used by people who are having dexterity issues to operate any laptops or mobile phones. It's called a micro switch. So the price of it is almost like $100. And if the switch has to work, it has to be connected to this PowerLink kind of a device, which is not available for India now. Most of them are not aware of it. And that is the reason why 20 to 30% of the disabled people are not able to use a mobile phone, not able to use a desktop. Think of if you are not able to use your mobile phones for the next 72 hours, since the internet is down, what would happen? Most of us will go crazy. We'll start bashing here and there. That is when you are going to see who we are. Think of them who have never even seen a mobile phone. They are so backwards. Okay, that is where it comes from. I'm just going to finish it. So this is something that we are working on, make assistive device a right in Kerala and make sure that everyone has access to an assistive device. And this is some of the sessions that's going on. We are also able to place a lot of these people after 18 years. You might think, okay, will they get a job? They will never get a job. Today we are trying to make sure through the government things, making them more employable. A lot of people are getting employed, more than 100 of them. So these are some of the stakeholders we are working with. Just for the time's sake, I'm just moving faster. And you can also look about it everywhere, because the BBCs have covered about it, the German medias have covered about it. And this is what is Kerala doing. And I'm just one person in that 1,000 people who are trying to make this change, and my team along with that. And thank you so much for listening to me. I know this is a very short session, simple things I could say. Thank you so much, team. But one urge, do whatever that's possible to bridge this gap. They also need you. We also need them, because tomorrow they are going to take up the society. The numbers are increasing like anything. Thank you so much. I am available on my LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn QR code. Once again, wish you all success for the next 7 days, and thank you for inviting me. Wish you all greatness and goodness, and let's bridge the world.